August of 2009. I had just come out of surgery, and post that surgery, I went through hell. For like 16 months, I had to wear sanitary towels post surgery because I just could not stop passing discharges. I was just dying inside. That day when the doctor said that to me, I just wanted to die. I just wanted to crawl somewhere and just die. I was like, how? Doctor looked at me point blank and said, look, if you want to be a mom, surrogacy is the best option for. And I was looking at him and surrogacy. My number one question was, where do I get a surrogate from? People should allow people decide when they want to be parents.
I agree.
You don't have to put any pressure on them. For me, I hate it when you have old people at home and there's nobody taking care of them. I don't like it. I don't like that thing I see with old women, and you're looking for house helps, and inability to have children is simply because a man and a woman have not been able to make babies together. Right? So it's either that the man has an issue with his sperm, or the woman has an issue either with her eggs or with the uterus, with carrying. But for the man, it's just one straight thing, sperms. So we say start with the man.
And your husband was very open to doing that.
The cry and the begging and the blackmailing and the insisting like this. No, he wasn't. He wasn't at all. He felt questioned, not particularly me. And then for me, why he was hesitant is he didn't want that exposure. He felt it was just an invasion of my privacy. And
the woman's reproductive journey is never a straight line. From periods to pregnancy, to childbirth to postpartum, to childcare, there are so many bumps in between. So let's talk about it. My name is Olufumi J, and this is the Me and My Girls series, where we discuss everything women's reproductive health. This is for you as a woman, young or not, with kids or child-free. Get your girls to come watch with you and enjoy the episode.
Hi, my name is Olufumi J, and today I'm so excited to have a very special person on the podcast today, none other than Mrs. Toyin Lulu Ogumade. Please a round of applause.
hi, Olufumi.
How are
Nice to
you?
be here.
I'm so happy that you're here. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you for
I know I keep
having
saying
me.
thank you. Thank you so much for coming. But before we start, we want to play a game. Are you averse to playing games?
No,
So you don't mind?
I don't mind.
Okay. No, it's not anything deep. I promise.
don't mind.
So please just pick between numbers 1 and 10.
Ooh.
What's your lucky number?
I don't have any. Okay, let's say 8.
8. What in the world would you be if money is not an option? Or, sorry, if money is not an issue, rather.
A spoiled housewife.
I love it.
But I don't have to lift a finger doing anything again in my life. Let somebody else do the work, and let me just sleep on my bed and drink tea.
I never thought about it, but I love it.
I would love to be that. Yeah.
Yes, I agree with you, actually. Okay, so let's just get right into it. This is Toyin. So I bumped into your story when my friend Kiva had sent me your page, and I was like, eh? Like, I mean, when we're researching for topics, like, your topic had come up and so, but I didn't think that we're actually going to see somebody, because people are not, we already know that in this part of the world, people are not as vocal about certain things. There's a stigma of shame, culture of silence that we experience in part of the world. So I think the first question would be for me is, what made you want to share your story?
Okay, I use the word compel. I was compelled to share. I'm a Christian.
Okay.
But I'm also a very private person. You will hardly catch me outside or with, a group of friends that I have not really known. So I'm very comfortable amongst known people. Yeah. But when I passed through that situation, I knew in my heart that some people were also facing similar situations. Yeah. And I started journaling.
Okay.
I wrote down everything that was going on. And I thought one day I would make it into a documentary or make it into a Nollywood series and things. That was my intention. But I was compelled that I should speak up and I should share my story. So I started sharing. And initially people tried to shush me. People tried to get me quiet.
Of course.
And so that made me angry. And I was like, is it your
I love
story?
it.
Am I lying? Is it not my experience? Were you there with me? So the more they tried to keep me quiet, the more I felt the burden to share. Sometimes I will talk and I'll start crying. And then I found courage and I said, you know what? Let me just talk about it. And then it got into all the dimensions
That it's
gotten into now. Yeah.
That's amazing. I think I'm also a very vocal person. I'm not someone that shies away from sharing any part of, like, I try to be private in certain things, but the other ones where I think it's anger first for me.
Okay.
Like, why is no one talking about this thing?
Okay.
That compels me, just to borrow your words, to say or to speak on certain things. I'm sure people are wondering, what is this thing? In this part of the world, I think I always use the analogy when you, as a young lady, the moment you are born as a female child,
Yes.
it's like your life is planned out for you.
Yes.
From conception to delivery. Once you, after even delivery to every stage of your life, your life is planned. Okay, when you're at a certain age, you go to school, you go to secondary school, university, but when you're in university, they're not asking you for boyfriend or husband, but when you come out, they're like, okay, so where's the
what's
husband?
next?
What's next? Then you get married, and then
They're counting 9 months.
yeah, from that prayer at the wedding, you know, they're always at 9 months.
I was like,
That prayer enough is already pressure.
Yes.
You know, especially on the female,
Yes.
to want to have a baby 9 months immediately. That prayer, because I remember when I got married too. Like, I was like, I'm going to be balling. But then that pressure came, it was unconscious, subconscious. Like, I just realized that, me too, I want a baby. Meanwhile,
and you feel somehow because you're not pregnant.
Yeah.
You know, they make you feel like you're subhuman. Your
Or like
mates
you're
are doing
incomplete.
it.
Exactly.
Your mates are getting children younger than you and are getting pregnant up and down.
Not counting that, okay, maybe you got married at a certain age. Not counting maybe if you have like medical issues or health issues. They just think that,
you're not just ready. You understand?
Absolutely.
People should allow
People breathe.
people decide when they want to be parents.
I agree.
You don't have to put any pressure on them.
Yeah, because like I say, if you think you're ready to have children, when you have the children, you realize you're not ready to have the children. Because having children... I mean, just before we started, you were giving me tips on what to do with my own children. So, like...
It's a never-ending
journey.
Yeah.
Right? So for you, I mean, I have Mrs. Toyin's book. This is like my new best friend because this book is so good. So good. And she has like... I'm preempting myself, so many tips in it, but anyway. And you had said you got married and decided that, you know what, you're going to wait a year before you guys have children.
Yes.
And then a year came and
it turned to 12, 13. So I didn't want to be a mom immediately after marriage, you know, because of some of these things we talked about. I wanted to get to know me in marriage. I wanted to know how to organize my life. You know, I got married. I was settling into a new job, all about the same time, you know. So I wanted to know how that will play out and then just relax in marriage and have a honeymoon, extended honeymoon for 1 year.
absolutely.
Until fibroids decided to show me shege.
Yeah.
And the shege was much, you know. So, yeah, I didn't want to. I wanted time to prepare. But I got more than enough time at the end of the day, you know. Yeah.
When you said fibroids, because I think I also had that. A lot of women don't even. There's something that you said. I'm going to read it. You said,
Okay.
please give me. Your body speaks when something is wrong.
Yes.
And when I read it, I was like, because I can pinpoint times when I felt a certain way, and it was because times when something had manifested like physically, maybe health wise, and I had sensed it in my body.
You can trace it back.
to that thing,
to that moment when you had that prompting.
yeah, because like
yes.
sometimes you have like some stomach ache, you just think it's stomach ache, but it could be a fibroid ache.
Yes.
Because that happened. You started having
I started having aches. I was bloating. I was retaining fluid. And me, that was painfully like this growing up. I started, I was like, what's going on? And then the pain was unbearable. My ankles will swell, this will swell. And so I kept going to the hospital, and they said, you have 2 fibroids. They won't disturb conception. But they did disturb conception. Yeah.
And then it ended up being, is it 21?
22.
22.
Yes.
Should we talk about like the healthcare system in Nigeria? Because when I read, I was like, you said 2. How did we get to 21?
From 2, it came 4, and then 22.
Okay, let's just move
And
on.
then it became a mess afterwards when they were removed.
Yes,
that was
let's
the height
even get
of
into
it.
that, because I know that a lot of people, when they are diagnosed with having fibroids, like most people, they're like, oh, when they have a big tummy, you just automatically think, oh, the person is pregnant. Sometimes it could be the person's battling fibroids. In hindsight now, would you have, because you had said your husband didn't want you to go ahead, and I even know a lot of people that don't want to have fibroid surgeries because there's always like something always happens, maybe the person dies or there's some complication. In hindsight, would you have still gone ahead to have the fibroid surgery?
Knowing what I know now, yeah. So remember that time we are talking about was 1999, 2000.
Yeah,
Technology wasn't like this.
absolutely.
Information wasn't like this. So if we had some form of education and someone to handhold and say, yes, you have fibroids, but these are the things you can do. These are the alternative ways you can have children. I probably would have gone the alternative way. Yeah, but there was no education. Even medical people are not allowed to advertise. It's just getting better now that you have social media, and all of them are present on social media. But traditionally, medicine is not allowed advertisements. And so there was that silence. Nobody knew
Which wasn't
what
even
to
helping.
do. It wasn't helping. And so when there's silence, there's stigma. And when there's stigma, a counterfeit will come up, and that is the baby factory thingy. Do you understand? So that ban on advertising drew a lot of it fostered a lot of ignorance in the society. So if we had education and learning and all of this that we have now, then I would have thought about it twice before going in for that surgery. Yes.
Okay. So let's move on and talk about the moment like you were told that, sorry ma, your infant. I'm sorry, I'm trying to pick my words.
You're trying to be gentle.
I'm trying to be, because I don't want, because I
no, be gentle. Say it as okay. Just say it like that.
Like when, because I'm saying this because I've also had I told you earlier, I have 5 years between my first kid and second, so I had to wait a bit, and there was like miscarriages. So certain words would just make you feel, a certain way. So how was it when they finally told you, oh, so you are not going to be able to carry a baby in your womb? Because every woman, like I said, we've been conditioned to think that you're going to carry, even when they are singing for you at your wedding. Sorry, my Yoruba is really bad. Exactly. Like, so every woman or every young lady is already conditioned to say, my baby in my womb. So how was that for you?
So it was on my 10th wedding anniversary, August of 2009. I had just come out of surgery.
That's the fibroid surgery?
No, so the fibroid surgery was in 2006.
Okay.
And post that surgery, I went through hell. I went through hell. For like 16 months, I had to wear sanitary towels post-surgery because I just could not stop passing discharges. I was just dying inside. I didn't realize something horrible was happening inside. And fast forward 3 years, 2009, I still wasn't pregnant. And then I had to go through all sorts of tests and investigations, HSG and co. And the HSG revealed that I had a lot of damage in my uterus, scar tissues, adhesions of severe proportions. Yeah. And I was referred to a doctor to check what was going on. And the doctor put me through surgery. And post that surgery, I was supposed to recover, and then they'll say, okay, we can wake up your uterus. You're still able to have a pregnancy and things like that. And then I got to hear, sorry, there's nothing we can do about it. You have a lot of scarring in your uterus, and the surgery wasn't successful. So I had a surgery to remove fibroids. I've gone through a surgery to correct a damage from fibroid surgery. Yeah. And then, that day when the doctor said that to me, I just wanted to die. I just wanted to crawl somewhere and just die. I was like, how? These things happen. Really? I'm not in a movie. You understand? How can you tell me I can't carry a child? The uterus is like this size. So you're telling me in all of this, nothing can work. And it was like, no. So I said, what next? He said, we try another surgery. It's like, try another surgery again. Okay, I'm ready. So I went through another surgery in around October of that year, 2009. And it didn't work again. It failed. And the doctor looked at me point blank and said, look, if you want to be a mom, surrogacy is the best option for you. And I was looking at him like,
surrogacy.
I'm not in Iloyinbo. You understand? This is not Europe. This is not the abroad. This is Nigeria.
This is Nigeria.
You're telling me surrogacy in Nigeria. And he said yes. And I was like, how do I move forward from here? He said, go get me a surrogate and I will put her through IVF. We'll use your eggs. And I was just looking at him like, this man speak English.
Like you're just giving me different things.
You're just hitting me. I was badly hit. So my number one question was, where do I get a surrogate from in this Lagos? Do they walk on the streets of Lagos like that? Get me one. He said, no, you won't get me one. That I would have to go and get one, bring her.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know where to start from. But about that time, my family doctor had introduced us to an Indian fertility specialist that he met on one of those trips that he took abroad. And I said to him that this is the verdict from it was a verdict from the fertility specialist, and he said, okay, speak with this doctor. So we had been talking back and forth up until when I had that second surgery. And so I gave Dr. Parikh the report, and he said, come to India, let's have a look-see, but be prepared for surrogacy. And I was, how do I get in? He said, we have surrogates. I was like, you have surrogates? Really? And that was the beginning of my journey. So I went to India in March of 2010, hoping to go through surgery again and correct that damage, you know, with emphasis on what you said, that every woman wants. I really desired to have a child and carry a pregnancy. That was my desire. And so before I left, I had researched a lot on surrogacy and all. But it was, reading about things and experiencing, sometimes they are two different things. And then we got to India, he had his own check and it was, no, Toyin, this can't work. It's only surrogacy. And that was how I got into it.
So I want to, divert to, what in your book, you have a lot of pre-chapter nuggets. And then you had said something. You said, infertility is a couple's thing. Yes. And in fact, in your husband's chapter, he also emphasized that. Yes. Because you said, the husband's one, is it 30%?
It's 50-50. No, it's 50-50.
Oh, now
before it was 40, and then you have the 20 unexplained. But if you divide it, really, it's 50-50.
So, because even your husband had said he would rather that the husband should go do a check first.
Yes.
Because is it that most times people end up realizing that it's the husband with the problem?
Okay, so why we said that is that for men it's less invasive. You understand? It's a couple's thing. The inability to have children is simply because a man and a woman have not been able to make babies together. Right? So you see that the man has an issue with his sperms, or the woman has an issue either with her eggs or with the uterus in carrying. But for the man, it's just one straight thing. It's his sperms. So we say starts with the man. Let him go and get his tests done. And then from the test, you easily know whether he's the one with the issue or not.
And your husband was very open to doing that.
He wasn't.
Oh, he was.
You know, the cry and the begging and the blackmailing and the arm twisting like this. No, he wasn't. He wasn't at all.
Many men are
he wasn't. It was like you will get pregnant the traditional way, the natural way. And I was like, what is artificial about any other way you get, you know? So he wasn't. Oh, it was war. We were always quarreling about
That's to the surrogacy or to
everything.
To every
It was he left to him. He wouldn't have stepped foot inside a hospital for one day. Left to him.
And that set you guys back.
It set us back a lot.
A lot.
Yes. After a while, so when he was dilly-dallying, I stepped forward. Even to get the diagnosis of what was going on, I stepped forward. I didn't tell him when I went to that hospital to see that elderly doctor. So it was after he gave me that diagnosis that, look, this is what is going on, and he said, your husband has to know. That was when I now pulled him in and I said, oh boy, you are involved in this matter. This can't be me alone. He didn't want to be there because he felt it was you know, it's a private thing. You're spreading your dirty linen in public. Everybody is teaching you how to sleep with your wife, or they're asking you. So at some point, he felt affronted. It was like, I'm the one on under pressure here. People are telling me I can't impregnate my wife. Why am I? Yeah. So he felt that he felt questioned. You know, he felt questioned, not particularly me. And then for me, why he was hesitant is he didn't want that exposure. He didn't want men. You know, there are a lot of men in this profession than women. The women are coming up now. So he felt it was just an invasion of my privacy, and he didn't want that for me. So those were his reasons primarily. The third reason was that we are Christians, and the Bible says none shall be barren. So you have your children in due time. Don't worry, don't fret. You sleep and wake up one day and you're pregnant. But it didn't happen. But it didn't happen.
Oh wow. Now what was the journey to now deciding that, you know what, let me now try this or go for the surrogacy? Because I mean, it's like you jumped three options. There's okay, now I know I can't have a baby. You didn't even suggest adoption, which is always
no. I didn't want adoption.
Oh, you didn't want adoption, and then you didn't even say, oh, let's try something else, but surrogacy all the way.
Okay, so I will explain the technicality.
Okay.
First, I didn't want adoption. Not that I have anything against it. In fact, I had told my husband then that I wanted 9 children. That I was going to have that I was and you see how it's playing out, that I was going to have twins as my first, and then we'll have another one, and then I will adopt 6. So for me, I hate it when you have old people at home and there's nobody taking care of them. I don't like it. I don't like that thing I see with old women, and you're looking for house helps and nannies and nurses. I didn't want that. So I wanted, as I age, I wanted to have a child at home with me until I'm very old and I pass on. You understand? So that had always been at the back of my head, that I'll have plenty children and I'll foster plenty, because I didn't want an empty house. Right? So adoption wasn't a major thing, but I didn't want to have an adopted child as my first.
Okay.
Right? And 2, I felt I was young enough to produce eggs on my own and then still have. Then for the other options, they only work when the parameters are right.
Okay.
For instance, if a man has if a man has issues with his sperms, right, and the woman has an open fallopian tube, you can consider IUI, artificial insemination, right, and help him. So if he's having like low count and things like that, but he has good motility, the swim up ability, you can help that man with artificial insemination, and the woman is triggered to release, or the woman goes into ovulation naturally. Yeah. And then you introduce sperms when she's about to ovulate, because the trick is there must be sperms waiting when she's about to ovulate. Not that she has ovulated and then,
the
no,
sperm is coming.
the sperm must be there just before she ovulates, right? But in my case, my uterus was damaged. You understand? I was able to ovulate, right? My husband's sperms were not so good, but manageable. But my uterus was damaged. So if I say IVF, traditional IVF, and they bring out my eggs and they bring out my husband's sperms, where will they put the embryos? So for me, I didn't have all of that choice. It was just surrogacy or adopt or nothing else, or just stay like that, right? So the traditional IVF will work for somebody that has her own uterus viable, and then you can get the eggs, you can get the sperm and transfer into her, which was what I asked the doctor. I said, do IVF now? And it was, no, you don't have a good uterus. I need one, and you don't have. So go and get from a surrogate.
How was that? Like, all hearing all of this, knowing that, okay, do you know what? At this point, this is what I'm going to do. How was that on your emotional health?
So I wasn't balanced. It was a lot. So it wasn't just the realization that I'll use the surrogate. It was coming out of failed surgeries, and then getting hit by, you can never have a child, you can never be pregnant, and then going all the way to India, and then the doctor saying the same thing, that Toyin, you can't, it's not possible. And then getting to the point where I now have to sit down and select someone that will do my work for me. It wasn't funny. I was always crying in those days, in 2010. And then we were far away from home. It was India. And at some point, my husband had to leave me behind because he has to come back home. And I was alone. And I was in India for 2 years. You understand? It was a very tough time on me emotionally. I wasn't speaking with a lot of people apart from my family members who knew why I was there. And then luckily, BlackBerry came up, and we were able to chat with BlackBerry. So I wasn't so isolated. Facebook was there and was active, and then I had active Wi-Fi. So I would just generally sit on
The internet
all day, search for old friends, gist with nobody knew where I was in this world. They were just like, Toyin, you've disappeared. Where are you? You know, I'm like, somewhere, you will see me soon. You know, just trying to keep sane. And so I spent a lot of time researching what surrogacy was about. And when I realized the depth of the mess that had been done with my uterus, I decided I was going to train as a counselor and advisor. So the 2 years,
even in the middle of what was going on.
So I put the 2 years to use in the same hospital, and I'll sit down with the doctor and the medical team, and they will teach me, and they will take me through the entire process. They will drag me into the theater. I was present when they were, you know, having surgeries done, and doctor would say, Toyin, come and stand behind my shoulder. Look at what I'm saying. And, you know, so I trained, and then I started writing my book. So I made good use of those 2 years. And then I came to understand what surrogacy is about. And I thought to myself, we don't have this in Nigeria. We don't have this much information in Nigeria released, you know, to people out there who are trying to have children. Why don't I do something about it? Like, so I decided to share information, just to share information. I didn't know anything about advocacy. I didn't know. There was no Instagram. There was nothing. You understand? It was just BlackBerry. And so so people started connecting, and I would teach them the little that I knew about then. And some got results, some had their babies.
And at this point, you hadn't had yours?
No.
Oh, wow.
You know? So I thought, okay, I'm going to do this thing. And then I decided, yeah, I'll do it. And then I got results, and it was exciting, you know. finally getting pregnant through surrogacy, and then going through the 8 months journey with
her,
with my third surrogate, and having the children coming back. So by the time I came back to Nigeria and people saw the children, and they were wondering, okay, so she's disappeared for 2 years and she's looking like and I had lost all the weight, you know. I was very slim. I had lost all, and they would look at me and they would look at me like, her tummy is very flat. But I was lactating. So you come to my house and I'll breastfeed, and you will see me breastfeed. And they were looking at me like, this woman is just
something is
missing. And somebody actually asked me that, you know, she said, you don't look like someone who's had a child. And I said, how do they look? Oh. So people were just, you will see that, what happened to this woman?
Yeah.
And then I'll come out and say, oh, I did surrogacy. And they're like, so that's the beginning of confusion. So I now decided, okay, you know what? I'm going to share my story. So I started publicly sharing my story, media. And then immediately somebody in the media got to know, we started telling each other, this woman will talk. And people were looking at me like, where are those children? So at some point, my children started featuring with me. And people were like, you don't look Indian. I was like, they can't look Indian. They are my eggs. You get? So at some point, the children started featuring. They would ask them questions. But after a while, they withdrew. They said, you know what, mommy? No more media.
We know more. People might not understand what you mean by they don't look Indian. So would you like to share how you got... So the surrogate you used was...
Indian, because I was in India. I lived in India. And so the process for surrogacy is through IVF. Okay, so let me rewind. There are two types of surrogacy arrangement. There's traditional and there's gestational.
Okay.
Right? In traditional surrogacy, which is what has been known, is the woman who is the surrogate is also the egg owner. So in the olden days, you have some auntie come to stay with a couple that is not able to have children, and then that auntie gets pregnant, and at the end of the day, the auntie disappears, and then the baby stays with the couple, or they have some private arrangement somewhere. Okay, so that's traditional surrogacy.
Okay.
The surrogate mother is the egg owner.
Okay.
Right? But gestational surrogacy means that the surrogate does not have any blood attachment to the child she's carrying. No DNA at all. Right? So it's through IVF. They harvest eggs from the woman who is trying to have a child. If our own eggs are not good enough, we get donor eggs from someone else. And then we fertilize with the sperms from the man. If the man's sperms are not good enough, in case it's the man that has an issue, then we use sperms from a donor. But then surrogacy means that whatever number of embryos that you create from that arrangement, you are transferring some into a third party, a woman who is not in your marriage relationship or in your civil partnership relationship, and then you ask her to come and get pregnant for you. But the man is not sleeping with her. There's no intercourse whatsoever. So you're transferring your embryos into another woman who is a host. And she's only hosting. She's not passing on DNA. The blood is not even mixing at all.
At all.
That's the way we are designed. Even you that you got pregnant naturally, there's no blood exchange. Do you understand? So she's a host. She's only feeding, she's nourishing, she's taking care, she's protecting. And then when she gives birth, the baby is given to the mother. Now, because my eggs were used, my children don't look Indian. You understand?
Yeah.
They look exactly like
you.
And my surrogate is white. She has hair up to her waist level. You know how Indians are. She's very Indian, but they don't look anything like her. They don't have anything from her. It's just me. You understand? So that's it.
Thank you for that education. I'm like, okay. I want to ask a question. I don't know if this is the right way to ask the question.
Okay.
How were you able to handle the IVF process as a third party? Is that the right way to put it?
Okay, I get you. I get what you mean.
Okay.
Because some of the things I get asked by people who want to go through surrogacy is, so I'm not a part of this. Someone else is carrying the pregnancy. So what will I be doing? And I answer them, they say, you're pregnant. Do you understand? You're mentally, emotionally pregnant. The Bible says where your treasure is, that's where your heart is. 1,000,000% you are the one that is pregnant. Right? If any little thing is going on in that woman's body, you will know. You are feeling it. Because you are connected. You are emotionally tied to that baby. You are financially tied to that process. If you're a spiritual person, you're spiritually connected to that person, and you're constantly praying, and you're exercising a lot of faith because you are trusting someone who you do not know to take care of your babies whilst they are there, and you're trusting her to hold on to her part of the contract, and that at the end of the day she won't run away with your baby. Hey, you are exercising so much faith and courage. You are bonding. From the moment you hear she's pregnant, that baby is yours. You can't, so you feel all the anxieties, you feel all the excitement. Everybody else is feeling. So I tell people, I say, once you are okay with the path you have decided to go, you are engaged. It's only if you are not okay. Maybe somebody cajoled you, or somebody is blackmailing you, or maybe your husband's people or your own people are saying, you better go and do this thing, so you can have a child, and you're not interested. That's the only way you can feel a disconnect. But if you agree that's how you go, trust me, you'll be on that phone calling every time. How is she? Has she eaten? Has she taken her medicines? And you're engaged 1,000,000%. And when my babies were handed over,
you felt all the emotions of a mom. But I want to also go into, you said you were lactating.
Yes.
Did you have to take drugs?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. See, the woman's body is very complex.
Absolutely, I agree.
So the hormonal system can run independent of each other, but they're supposed to overlap. One triggers one. But when there's a fault in a particular system, you can bypass it. You understand? So there are bypass technologies, there are bypass treatments. You can bypass and you still achieve what you want. You want a baby, you want to lactate, you can. So I went through hormonal treatments for that. I took medication. I used breast pump. I was taught how to breastfeed, and milk came. You understand? Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Somebody is watching or listening and saying, "Oh, this is not my portion. No, I'm getting married a virgin." You said,
okay.
I don't mean, there was something you said, my portion. No, I'm a virgin. I've not slept around. I've not done this. I've not done that. The first thing you said was,
that was
your
me.
book. You said that was me, and you said virginity is not a proof.
It's not a proof
of fertility.
It's not.
You can shed some light on that.
It's not. It just shows that you've not had sex. That's it. But it doesn't guarantee that what is inside you is whole and intact. Right? It does not. The only way you will know is when you attempt to get pregnant and it doesn't happen. See, there are a lot of women that were born with congenital deformities. Congenital that's how they were born. I've seen people with missing ovaries. I've seen people with missing uterus. I've seen people with double uterus, double cervix. I've seen people with split uterus. Do you understand? And all of them at some point were virgins. All of them at some point lost their virginity when they started having sex, right? But that does not mean that those problems were not there. I've seen men who, although they could ejaculate, they were not producing sperm. Because semen is not sperm.
Oh, wow.
So what a man ejaculates is semen. And it has plenty things in it. It has that seminal fluid. It has fructose. It has other components. And it should have sperm in it. But some men do not have. They're just shooting blanks.
Oh, dear.
And they've not had sex. So they won't know until they keep trying to make a baby and it's not working. And then you say, okay, what is going on here? Let's investigate. And the investigation will bring out some one or two things that might be going on.
So would you advise that people should do full medical checkups before they get married? Or you might not even know?
So you don't know. Right? You might even do a full medicals and they say everything is fine. Your hormonal levels are fine. But you meet with this man and you're not pregnant. Which is why I said it's a couple's thing. See, you might have intercourse with a man back to back and you're not pregnant. But step out and meet another man.
And you get pregnant.
And it happens. Because 1,000,001 things again happen. Some women, so I say your body talks to you, yeah? A woman has a discharge almost every day of the month. A woman is discharging something. Even when you're not discharging, your body is saying something, right? So for some women, their cervical mucus is hostile to that man's particular seminal ejaculate, and it's killing off sperms.
Oh dear.
How will you know? Unless you have a test, postcoital test. So if you don't have intercourse, you don't know. If you have not tried to get pregnant, you won't know whether you are fertile or not. So, and then you will see someone who's had a child wait years before another one comes. So she has secondary infertility. Do you understand? So these things are not cast in stone. It's only when you get there that you realize that, okay, this is not working.
And both parties have to be in sync.
Yes. So even if the man is suboptimal and you are there, you can pull him up. So there are a lot of techniques that you can use to pull up the man. So when a couple is faced with infertility, I say don't blame it on one person, because that person might step out and achieve with somebody else. Don't just blame it on one person. It's a couple's thing. Find a way around it and manage it. And unfortunately, we are in the century where technology is helping everybody. Technology is helping us in this place. People can listen to us from every corner of the world. So if technology is helping us do that, why shouldn't you embrace tech to have a child? If you're struggling on your own.
Absolutely. Okay, we're rounding off, but let's talk finances in IVF.
That's money.
What was that like?
Money.
Physically, financially, especially financially. How was it for you?
It's a lot. Infertility is draining. It's one of those things that I call leaking baskets.
Oh wow.
It's draining. It drains everything it touches. It drains relationships. It drains finances. It drains your health, because sometimes you're just feeling sick and you don't know what is going on with you. A lot of people end up with depression, and some are undiagnosed. You don't even know that it's depression. I was in that category. I just knew I was pretty much sad. I didn't know I had that, until I came out of it and I was like, oh, this is what I dealt with. So it drains a lot. And so one of the things that hurts me in this part of the world is that we don't have insurance for that. I would love to wake up one day and find fertility insurance everywhere. You understand? So that people can start to plan for it and save up towards it and then get help. But it's not easy. The 2 years I spent in India, those days cost us about $30,000. Because I went through 3 IVF cycles with a surrogate.
And the first 2 were not?
The first 2 didn't work. It was the third one that worked. And those 3 cycles were fresh cycles because I had issues with my egg quality.
Okay.
So I had to go in again to pick eggs. And it's the same.
Sorry, because typically, what happens is they would have taken out the eggs and keep some in storage if they were good enough. If they were good enough, yeah. But I didn't have that quality. That one is story for another day. So it's the same. It's the same everywhere in the world. Fertility treatments are not cheap. The technology is not cheap. The education is not cheap. The reagents they use is not cheap. You understand? So it's a lot of money. And then when it comes to surrogacy, you're paying for IVF. You're also paying for
the surrogate. You're paying for her time.
Mm-hmm.
You're paying for her engagement. You're making her a bit comfortable. You're compensating her. And then there's legal implication. You're paying legal fees, and then sitting with family lawyers and things like that. And you know, the cycle might not work first time.
Yeah.
You might have to repeat. So all of these add up, and it's expensive, yes, but it's achievable. Some institutions give loans, some give grants. Do you understand? You can get some friends to finance you and then work out a payment arrangement if they want it back.
But that's even
Or-
if it's successful.
Yes. Or you can get them to chip in and support. It depends on the support system
That
you
you
have around
have.
you. In our case, again, I'm Christian. In our case, in church, we've been taught to sow seed when you are trusting God for something, and that's exactly what we did. We asked the Lord for specifics, and we sowed a seed. Sowing a seed means you're giving money towards that particular thing you're asking for. And if I told you that 95% of what we spent came as gifts, you'll be shocked. People were dashing me money left, right, and center.
Wow.
2 million, 3 million, kidney got $1,000, and I was like, so I'll just cry, God, I'm out of money. And then the next thing is money comes.
Money
You know,
comes.
somebody says, hey, Toyin, you need this. Hey, Toyin, you need that. Or, you know, things like that. So all through the 2 years, I didn't lack anything. I recall I was in India. I had to rent an apartment. I had to feed. And I had to leave my job. You know, so I didn't lack anything. I didn't have excess, but I didn't lack anything. So coming back home, taking care of 2 children, I was like, madam, you need to go back to work. So I went back to work, and that's it.
Wow. Mo, you have to count the
So-
cost.
Sow a seed. So I tell people that I come across, sow a seed. You need this thing, just sow a seed and trust God. Just watch him. Watch him come to your help, you know.
You sort of like glossed over this next question I want to ask. How important is support in like on this journey?
So as with every other thing you do, you define what support means to you. For some people for some is people. For some is structure. For some is information and knowledge, right? But you can't take away people, especially family and friends. Some unfortunately don't have that in family, but they have in friends. I had that in family. I didn't have that much in friends. Some friends, yes. So you have to first identify what sort of support is available for what do you need, and what is available. And then with what is available, you then decide what level of information are you willing to release
To
to share at some point in time, because
That's
it's
so
not
good.
all of them that can identify with what you're going through. Yes, they are sympathetic, but it's not all of them that are mature enough to hold some level of discussions with you. It's not all of them that you can give some information to and you expect them to keep that confidence. So Precious Conceptions was born out of my pain. And the primary thing for us in Precious Conceptions is education, advocacy, and awareness. And then every other thing is secondary. Surrogacy, the surrogacy unit is a very strong unit. People know us for that mainly, but really is education, advocacy, awareness, right? And it's interesting because we've had successes. We've achieved a lot of success. We have about 100 babies now. The oldest baby,
Guys.
the oldest baby is going on 11.
Whoa.
And the youngest was born like 2-3 weeks ago.
That's surrogacy via surrogacy.
No, the oldest wasn't through surrogacy.
Okay.
The oldest through surrogacy are about 7 years.
Wow.
A set of twins.
Wow.
So that same year we had two sets of twin boys from surrogacy, and then it's increased. Now, when I started Precious Conceptions, I was still cooperatively working. and I was in HR. So I couldn't do a lot of things. So unlike now that you can boldly with your full chest say you have it. Those days you can't.
No.
They'll say it's moonlighting and things
Yes,
like that. So I couldn't actively go out with precious conceptions. I was only doing like a hobby.
Okay.
But at some point I decided, look, this is what I want to do with my life, and I faced it 100%. So that's what I do 100% now. We have about 100 babies. We have a lot of pregnancies. We have a lot of surrogate mothers.
That's amazing.
So you have
in Nigeria.
Yes, you have a lot of people who want to be surrogate mothers, and they are very good, honest women who just want to make a living for themselves. There's a process. They sign contracts. They go through screening. They go through counseling. We do a lot of background checks. We do guarantor checks and things like that before we bring them on. But the important thing for me, maybe because I've been there, is I allow them stay in their natural habitat. I don't pull them from their homes. A lot of agencies do that. They have surrogate holding facilities. I don't. I allow the surrogates stay where they want to be. So they now ask me, how do you monitor and control? I said, that's where my skill as a HR person comes in. So if I allow you freedom in one area, I must put a check and balance in another area. So we have other areas how we check and balance.
That's good.
But there are a lot of responsible women who have been surrogates in Nigeria.
Wow.
And a lot of them come back after they've given birth. They want to do a second round.
Oh, wow. Out of the goodness of their heart, or the goodness
for money.
of the money?
The money, yes. Yes.
Okay,
so it's been good. Yes,
I'm so happy that you came on. I'm so grateful. This has been it's quite a session, even for me, educative, informative, entertaining even. So where can we find you on social media?
I can on Instagram as my name, Toyin Lulu Ogumade. I have a website, preciousconceptions.com. I'm not a Twitter person like that. I really don't. So we open threads and I'm not really active on threads. But you will generally find me on Instagram and Facebook and on LinkedIn. Right, as my name, Toyin Lulu Ogumade. Okay. Right, and then there's Precious Conceptions Nigeria Limited on Instagram. Okay. And then you'll find my book, Mom at Last, available everywhere. It's on Amazon, it's on Kindle, it's in print copy here.
And
in
Mrs.
Nigeria.
Toyin has been so gracious. If you want one, we're doing our first giveaway. Our first giveaway. She brought 2 books. So if you're interested, we're going to put questions that you answer, so we can know whether you were attentive
following
in this.
Yes.
Yeah. And then we'd ask the questions, and then you get the book is actually really good. I had a pen to be writing through, but I was like, let me not be writing, but I'm going to read it again because it's a really good book. It's not those kind of books that you just be like, what are they even saying? It's a story. It's very engaging. Like, it will hook your throat. You won't want to leave it.
I promise.
Don't promise me. I promise you. You will not leave it. Like, I remember sitting on my bed. I was supposed to be sleeping because I was really tired. I sat and read pali to pali. I promise. Within, I think, maybe 2-3 hours. Yeah. Yes. I finished it. Nobody should come and disturb me. I finished it pali to pali. And I was like, my God. And then there's appendix. There are for terms that you read in the book and you probably don't understand. Me, I was Googling it because I was like, which one is this one? I'll go and check on Google. Then I realized that you had it at the back of the book. So it's actually our book, please.
And then the twins did something on it.
Oh, they did?
You didn't.
Did I miss that part?
So look at the front cover. So my daughter doodled on it.
Oh, the baby.
That's not the original design.
Oh,
the original design didn't come with all of those doodles.
This one.
So my daughter doodled on it.
Oh.
And then her twin brother now wrote on the first, the inside front cover and said, you will have your own baby.
Oh, I didn't even.
Yeah,
I read that part too, but obviously, I was too excited to read. I didn't notice. I see that your baby.
Can you see his writing?
Soon.
That's his handwriting. Yes,
it's there.
That's his handwriting.
I'm going to read it again. I'm not even joking. I'm not even. This is not bobo that I'm giving.
And the good thing is they know their surrogate mother. They know they were born through surrogacy.
Wow, because you know that
they know. There's no point hiding it.
So you encourage,
yes,
parents who go through surrogacy to tell their children.
Why not? It's nothing to be ashamed of. They know Pooja. They know her. They speak with her. And then we're planning to go to India one of these days
Oh my,
and
that
go
would
and
be
meet
so
her physically.
emotional.
Yes, she's always calling to ask after them, especially on their birthdays. You understand? So it's a family thing. They know all the surrogates that come. They see them.
I mean, your story is
They're
really
okay.
a
They're
unique
just okay
one.
with it. They're
yeah.
okay. They're okay with how they were born. So it's okay. So you don't need to shy away from that. You can tell, just determine whether you want to tell your child, and then determine their maturity level. And then
When did you tell them?
They were 7 when I told them.
And they were okay with it.
Yes, but you have to just re-emphasize, because children will forget. And they say, oh, so sometimes they will say, oh, mommy, where are your pictures when you were pregnant with us? And I just give them that look. Oh, sorry. Auntie Pooja carried that pregnancy, and then they will run off, and then they will come back. How did that work out? And then we'll explain again. So it's just like a normal conversation at home.
Guys, today you can't say I did not do anything for you today. You can't even say it. Anyway, we've come to the end of the episode. You already know where to follow Mrs. Toyin Lulu Ogumade. Till we come your way soon. That's such a Nigerian line. Till we come your way soon, do not forget to share this video. It's so important to share this video, because this is a topic that, even though like Mrs. Toyin is doing great work with it, this we still need to hear more and more and more of this. Let's say no. This stigma of shame and culture of silence must die and an ugly death,
By fire,
basically, by fire, by force, forever. So yeah, we've come to the end of the episode. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode. We're gonna see you in the next one. Love and light.